Today, we're going to piece together a really powerful story about family, about legacy, and what it means to go on a journey back to a past you've only ever heard about. This is the story of a boy named Faris and his granddad.
And it all kicks off with this one simple line. This is the heart of our story, really. It captures that special bond between a kid and a grandparent. A connection that's built on love, sure, but also on the power of stories and all the wisdom they hold.
All right, so let's set the scene. We're in the city of Alexandria. A young boy, Faris, lives with his family, including his granddad. And for Faris, his grandfather is way more than just family. He's like a living, breathing link to a whole other life, a time that Faris has never actually seen for himself.
And that's really what we're digging into here. This isn't just about a timeline of who did what and when. It's about the real weight and, honestly, the magic of family history, and how the stories we hear from our elders actually become a piece of who we are.
So Granddad would just paint these amazing pictures with his words, all about his childhood in this small village. He'd talk about studying hard, but also about all the simple joys, like kicking a football around the park with his buddies. He'd tell stories about his time as a teacher, his love for the local theater, and even about this special fig tree he planted in his garden when he was just a boy.
And then, one day, something happens. The past stops being just a story. A living, breathing piece of it literally moves right into Freyr's building, and it sets off this chain of events that, well, nobody could have seen coming. A new family moves in from Cairo. And just like that, what seems like a totally normal thing becomes this huge turning point. Faris meets their son Walid, who's his age, and they hit it off right away. They become great friends, totally clueless about the incredible connection they're about to find out they share.
And this is where you just realized how small the world can be. During a visit, it just casually comes up in conversation. Walid's mom and her family, they're from the exact same tiny village that Faris has only ever heard about in his granddad's stories. I mean, what are the chances?
Now think about this for a second. It's been more than 10 years since Granddad has even been to his childhood home. For him, these stories aren't just fond memories. They are pretty much his only connection left to the place that made him who he is. So this unbelievable coincidence, it just cracks open a door to the past. But as we're about to see, it also shines a light on something really difficult, a painful reality for Faris's grandfather. When Walid's family decides to take a trip back to the village, they invite Faris to come with them. All of a sudden, Faris has this amazing opportunity to actually walk down the same streets and see the very places his granddad has been telling him about his entire life. But here's the tough part, the really heartbreaking part of the story. The journey isn't going to include the one person who wants to be there more than anyone. Because he's in a wheelchair, that long, hard trip is it's impossible for Granddad. And so Faris's trip completely transforms. It's not just a fun visit with his friend anymore. Nope, it becomes this really important mission. Granddad asks him to please go see all his favorite spots. And Faris promises he will. He's going to be his grandfather's eyes and ears on this journey back in time.
All right, so Faris and Walid's family get on that long, beautiful train ride to the village. And when Faris finally arrives, it's like he stepped into two places at once. The village from his granddad's stories, and the village as it is right now, today.
So the first thing he's got to find, it's one of the main settings from all those stories, the park. The park where Granddad and his friends spend hours and hours playing football.
But, bam, the first dose of reality hits him. The park? It's gone. New houses were built right on that spot just last year. It's a pretty powerful lesson that, memory can keep a place alive long after it's physically gone.
So you start to see this contrast playing out, right? Faris is on this journey of discovering what's changed and what's managed to stick around. The park from the stories is gone, but when he looks for that theater his granddad loved so much, he finds it. It's still there, still a big part of the community.
And Faris starts realizing his granddad's impact is still everywhere. The school where he was a teacher, still full of kids learning. That theater, the villagers themselves decided to keep it open for their own kids and grandkids. And then he finds it, his granddad's old house. The woman who owns it now, Mrs. Amira, she tells him she loved the house just the way it was, so she never changed a thing.
And then, in the garden, he finds the most incredible thing of all. That fig tree. The one his granddad planted when he was a little boy. It's not just still there, it's thriving. It's got delicious fruit growing on it. It's a living, breathing piece of his granddad's childhood right there in front of him.
Seeing all of this, the school, the theater, the house that hasn't changed, and that amazing fig tree, it all just clicks. Pharos gets this fantastic idea. He knows exactly how he can bring the village and all of its memories back home to his granddad.
He starts documenting his entire journey. He takes pictures of every single place that meant something to his grandfather, capturing every little detail of the past that's still alive in the present.
Back in Alexandria, Ferris gives his grandfather the gift, and it's so much more than just a bunch of pictures. It's a photo album, a physical bridge across all that time and all that distance, letting his granddad see his home again.
It's like, through this whole trip, Faris didn't just learn about his granddad's past, he brought it back to life. He closed the circle, really, letting his grandfather revisit all those precious memories through the loving eyes of his grandson. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought. This whole journey started with just a simple conversation. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What stories are waiting in our own families? What histories are just sitting there, waiting to be rediscovered, if we just take a moment to ask?